A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there. Welcome to the channel Twin Flame Union. This is a channeling session where the divine masculine and divine feminine are in similar energies, although it is opposite polarity energies and there's a difference in timeline, but it is being mirrored right now, where both of them are thinking, like the guy is thinking, why do I love her? Only her. Why not anyone else? Why this way? Why like this? And the feminine is also thinking, why do I love him? Like there are so many people I can fall in love with, but why only him? So, this is definitely an interesting channeling, but before I go ahead, I would like to tell you that I know that ascension journey is hard for many divine feminines, and simply because they have to heal various types of abuses, and because of those traumas and abuses, many situations happen, and there are so many situations that need to be healed from the childhood and the growing up years. Therefore, you can always connect with me for private readings, therapies, counselings, and make sure you go through all the details on the description box. You can also subscribe to my channel, the Suna Moon Vlogs, where I share information and lifestyle content that can help you normalize, feel normal in the ascension journey, because there's someone else also who's living the life of ascension. Ascension is a very different concept, though many people are exploring it now. But if you are in the twin flame journey or you're in the ascension journey, your life cannot be like the packaged life or the typical life or the machine-like life or the clone-like life. You have to share your truth with the world, and you have to share that particular truth which is without any baits, without any offers. Also, you can subscribe to my another channel which is called Twin Flame Universe, where a lot of channel messages and information messages are shared on all stages of the twin flame experience, including healing from karmic and false twin relationships, because false twin relationships is also an important aspect of this journey. So let's get started and let's get into this channeling session. So what's really happening in the world of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, the twin flame divine lovers, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening is basically the mirroring of healed energies in this channeling session. Here, she's actually thinking in her mind, and again, this is a couple which is in the final stages, of course, and surrender is something that they both are trying to figure out somehow. And so they have been crossing the test of time. It's not easy to be on that test, but once you have passed with the flying colors, then it seems to be a good thing that happened actually. Because the more you get into the 5-dimensional reality, lifestyle changes, thoughts change, and you're doing better, you're thinking better, you're eating better, or you're more independent, or you're more free. You know, when those things start happening, you've actually started to merge with the source, you realize that it wasn't so bad, because you have to look at many other love stories and you have to look at the things that happen in this situation, in this generation. Now we have one part of our DNA which is unhealed, comes from the generation of our parents and our grandparents, where they would constantly tell you that, oh, your father was the first man of my life and the last, or your father would tell others how he met your mother and how they fell in love and they've been together, they've faced everything together. Then you'll hear about your grandparents. They'll talk about, even more orthodox time. Some of them will talk about romance and love, commitment, loyalty. Most of the times it's the divine feminine who hears these romantic love stories, or she knows about the long-term bonds. At the same time, she feels some kind of toxicity in these bonds, because people count the number of years because that gives them a sense of security or that gives them a feel good factor that, I maintained my relationship like this or like that without looking here and there. But of course, they also used to look here and there, and there are no perfect love stories, or there are very few perfect love stories. If there are no scenes of infidelity or cheating or this or that, there could be other things, like maybe one has a drinking problem, or maybe other is way too religious, constantly doing some or the other ritual throughout the day. It kind of annoys the husband too much. Or some of them are very enamored by the Western world, so they want to act like the Western world because they feel that they're very free. But of course, because of the upbringing and environment, they're not able to do it. They feel embarrassed at times. So there is no perfection, basically, is what they feel. However, this kind of, develops in them. One fact is what they learn from the life around them, where people are dating so many people, there are so many relationships happening, marriages don't happen so early anymore, nobody wants to, get married that early. Or those who do feel like getting married early, they also want it to be perfect, like how, they've heard about those fairy tale love stories, fairy tale weddings, and it's too good to be true, but it did happen for some people, they feel. So why can't I have it? And then, in practical reality, they have to witness heartbreaks or infidelity, or sometimes, on their own side, falling out of love, or it has a lot to do with sexuality. It has a lot to do with sexual experiences with people. So it's not an easy time to be in, because there is information from the previous generations, the senior generations, and then you see your younger generation also doing even crazier things, or you feel that they've matured too fast, or they know things too fast, like we didn't know all this. Same thing you'll hear your parents say, in our times we never used to do this. How you all go out to party every night, or how you keep changing boyfriends or girlfriends, or you're always on the phone. Who do you keep talking to? Like, we never used to get these facilities. We could never even make a phone call, forget about being on the phone all the time. So a lot of technological advancements also took place, just 20-30 years back only. So because of that, the generation is still trying to cope up with the pace and with the technology that the current generation is using. And the coming generation is, oh my God, a child is born and he wants to be on the phone, and there is all kinds of content in the world media. There's content for children, there's content even for a 3-month-old baby, So, and we don't know actually if this content is good or bad, or it's really healthy or unhealthy, or are we forming habit patterns, or are we too dependent on technology, or are we too distant from technology? Do we hate it? Do we like it? Like, there is some kind of confusion. In such a world, falling in love with a person, or actually you don't even know if you fall in love, but you feel this intense connection with this person, something that you cannot explain, and you don't feel it for anybody else. You've probably dated maybe 20 people, maybe 15 people, 10 people. It's not like all relationships have to be starting from dating only. Some people get into relationships from friendships. Some people just meet and they are, like literally boyfriend and girlfriend after that. So there are different types of situations also that happen. And you have also learned some bitter lessons, a lot of heartbreaks, some heartbreaks at least, or some kind of lessons about friendship, about life in general, about romance, and then there are some lessons which are very deep and they've come with a lot of pain as well, which you'd like to avoid if possible. So despite all of this combination of information, you feel that your heart is stuck on one person. Why is that so? Like, why am I stuck with this one person? I've not been like this before meeting him. I mean, yeah, I've always been the one who wanted true love, or I've always been enamored by the love stories and things like that. But I've learned my lessons. And by the time you've met this guy, you're more practical than before. So you are more cautious, you're more careful. But this time, this cautiousness or this carefulness or trying to tiptoe or trying to figure it out actually becomes a bit expensive for you, for your peace of mind, because someone on the other side starts using it or starts seeing these qualities not as being cautious or taking your own time to figure things out, to build up trust, but seeing it as some kind of mistrust or lack of love or some kind of aloofness, or maybe this person is not too much into commitment, maybe they are not the kinds who love me, maybe not the kinds who are interested, maybe they are in for the fun time or for the hookup or something, and maybe they have some other perk that I could be providing, but they don't really love me or they're not so into me. But this type of questioning will only be asked by a person who is definitely in love with someone or definitely interested, but they're also trying to save themselves from a heartbreak. Like they've already imagined that there would be a heartbreak if I get more deeply intimate with this person. So this is the reason why divine masculine steps out and they prefer to run away, because they are not sure if the divine feminine is the right person or not. And the divine feminine who was trying to be cautious, previously she would have just jumped into a relationship. She would have just committed blindly and done all kinds of crazy things. But then those people, those false twins or those negative soulmates gave her so many bad lessons, or there was so much trauma that by the time she meets her actual twin, she is not able to jump straight into love or believe him, although he wants her to do exactly that. So this type of opposite energies creates a rift between them, and I don't think I need to tell you the rest. You already know. So some of you are in a certain better place than the other, but you don't feel it. You also want the complete thing. You don't want the, but yeah, you're more powerful, you're more empowered, you're more confident about yourself. You're not needy and clingy anymore. You don't think that I cannot exist without him. I need him so badly. You're independent, you're free, you're relaxed, you're content. And that's when he starts feeling the restlessness, the uneasiness. He now starts regretting that he ran away. He realizes that he ran away. He even realizes that, oh my God, maybe she was in love with me. Or maybe she was a better person than whosoever I chose after that. So all of these things happen or would be in the happening process. But more than that, individually, when they're in their alone time, when they're all by themselves, that is the time they actually ponder. And I would suggest that you should not daydream about it. If you just ponder, just try to move on as fast as you can. And this is for divine feminines. Divine masculines can ponder, they can think, because they are the ones who now need to accept the feelings and surrender to love. So this is how their surrendering happens. It's the opposite polarity energy of the divine feminine. While divine feminine is feeling much more relaxed, she doesn't feel the same uneasiness or fear-based thoughts. She's not even wanting to waste time in thinking about thoughts. So, but she does wonder, why only him? Maybe just a question, just a fleeting thought. Why do I have to think about him? Or why does he have to be the one? Or why am I thinking about him? Like, why not anyone else? Why him only? And again, as I just said, that this is for those people who are in the surrendering process. So why is she the one? Why is he the one? And then things also start making sense to them, their pain, their suffering. It only starts making sense when they actually release it. They have to surrender to the pain as well, right? When they surrender to the pain as well, as much as they surrender to the addictions or the pleasure-based thoughts, they realize something different is happening to them. She wants to surrender the fear-based thoughts about him, and he wants to surrender the running away or the lack of acceptance. He just wants to accept it now, that yeah, okay, I think about her, I love her, I feel for her, she's nice, she's funny, she's cute, she's a good person, or some kind of positive thought. Another reason why she is thinking about him like this is because it's the same divine feminine who has gone through all the various level of pain and hurt and betrayal that she felt. But as you ascend more and more, as you step into the 5-dimensional reality, you don't see things the same way as you used to see. She's sort of admiring the divine masculine in a way that had he not been there, had he not been so stubborn, or had he not ignored me the way he ignored me or made the choices that he made, I won't be here today. I won't be a super empath, or I won't be feeling so amazing, or I won't be so independent, like monetarily so independent, abundant wise so independent, emotionally. All those people who have stepped into a higher dimension or have found out a better way of living, which is because of source integration, know that any other guy won't have done it the way he did it. She would not have bothered about anyone else. Like, other people go and she would be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care about them. Or she would move on so fast. And in her past also, all the people who left her or broke up with her or didn't work out with her, all of them somehow have gotten back to her. Every single person. In some way or the other. I mean, of course, those who have left the country or the world, I can't say much about them. Or must have been people with whom she would never like to keep in touch with or even talk to. Or there are some kind of people, some type of people who are lost in time now, or the situation was so complicated. So she realizes whatever the case was, she did spring back up. She did forget about them, and she did start a new life all over again. But was it really beneficial for her? Because she didn't heal from within. She hadn't cleared the reasons why those men were coming to her. Reason why she was attracting this type of selfish love, where she was just the giver, always giving. The divine masculine is slightly different, and the reason why she thinks that he could be her twin flame as well. Some of them have doubts for a long time, because that's how this journey is. You see so many negative qualities about a person, you obviously form a perception about them, and this happens after you have had a very positive perception about them. You have put them on a pedestal, then they hurt you, then you got them down. You put source over there, you feel better, you realize your mistakes, and then you feel that it was because of this person's nature or behavior or confidence level. No matter what they did to you, you somehow feel that they could be given a benefit of doubt. Let me tell you something very interesting from my own journey, that the person who was a false twin in my life, every time, even if you do it randomly in your thoughts, like, maybe this person was not that bad. Every time I have thought, right from the start of that relationship, which also went long, let me tell you that, every time I thought that this person is the one for me, or every time I was willing to forget about my own self and make some stupid decision, I would always get a very, very intense dream, a very vivid dream. And in that dream, I would be shown the real face of that person. Or I would be shown how hopeless that person is. Or I would be shown that this person is never going to change, no matter what you do. Even through clairvoyant messages, even otherwise. And then, when you actually look at the behavior of the person, the false twin relationship is like a never-ending loop. It's almost crazy, because the same thing will keep repeating again and again and again till the time you literally don't realize that this is not going to change. This is a loop. I'm stuck in a loop. But with your twin flame divine masculine, the real one, you will actually grow. Even if you're in separation, even when you're in runner-chaser dynamic, only the thing is that in runner-chaser dynamic, things would change a bit slowly and it would be very frustrating. And if the runner-chaser dynamic has gone for too long, then you got to be careful. There should not be any abuse. If your twin flame, divine masculine, is physically abusing you, that is not a twin flame. Please understand, that is not a twin flame. Physical abuse is something that is not accepted in this journey. Once you go through something like that, and you know what is physical abuse, I don't need to explain it to you, right? You know it, when most of you would know about it. Quarreling, arguing, fighting, discussing, even running away, like blocking, ghosting. These are not, they don't fall under physical abuse. He chose someone else over you. In many cases, the divine masculine also chooses someone else over the divine feminine, is because, especially if it has been a long distance relationship, or especially if they have never really gotten intimate with each other, but they've probably had a few dates. They've gone out, held hands. He probably kissed her on the forehead, hugged her for a really long time, wept in front of her. Did something, very beautiful and intense, or did it few times. But when it came to sealing that relationship, making a commitment, he just chose to act very strangely, and the divine feminine could not understand what happened. The reason he does that is because he feels that from her side, there is lack of love. Because understand, if a person does not want to be committed, he would not be committed. He would not commit to anyone, not even another person. He is looking for some kind of commitment. That's the reason why he made a clear choice, and he also stood by the commitment. A lot of divine masculines actually stand by the commitment. With false twins, it's very different. Or with even narcissistic abuse, it's very different. And I always say there's always a thin line in everything. There's always a thin line in every area of life. Once a person crosses that thin line, you know which category to put that person in. The divine masculines technically cannot play that loop of coming and going, enjoying, having sex, or doing something like taking money, basically using the feminine. If they do all this repeatedly over and over again, they are definitely not a divine masculine. This divine masculine cannot do that. He cannot do that. That's why he makes a choice. That's it. In narcissistic abuse, that person will constantly keep in touch with you, or he will keep coming back to you even if he has someone else. Remember that. A false twin or a narcissistic abuser will always have one hand in the bush and one hand obviously with the divine feminine. He would have two choices going on at the same time, sometimes even three as well. Same for the narcissistic female. She would always be going out, she would always have friends, she would always have some or the other option where she's communicating, when she's talking about it, and she's always going to be a victim. She's never going to say that I can improve, or I can be better, or let me do inner work, or let me do this, or let me do that. If she by chance goes to a therapist also, she goes to the therapist because she feels that the therapist is going to, make her feel better in terms of her own image building. She's going to resonate. She's going to resonate my thoughts or my beautiful image, my righteousness, even if it's at the cost of putting other people down. But when a therapist refuses to do that, and they start showing them the mirror, and they start telling them that, hey, it's you who needs to work on yourself, not other people. It's you who has to improve. It's you who has to become a better version of yourself, not them. Because the therapist can then clearly see that this person is constantly complaining about others and never really saying that, I want to change, I want to work on myself. Because I know who are the type of people who want to work on themselves. I have taken sessions at 4:30 in the morning. Not 4:30 in the morning for me, but for the person. They are willing to take sessions at 3 a.m., 4:30 in the morning because they want to take the therapy somehow. They want to make time for it somehow. They want to be present. They want to learn. They want to advance. And these are the types of people who actually learn the most. But there are those who are always in luxury. They're always complaining. They're always saying, the man did this, the woman did this, my mother did this, my father did this. Again, there's a thin line. There is a thin line in talking about what happened to you, in sharing your pain. And there's a very thin line in projecting other people as villains, always wrong, always negative, and yourself as the innocent being who never did anything, who never knows anything. So, in this particular session, it's very clear that both of them, despite whatever has happened in their past, and they may not be confessing it to each other at the moment also, it's very important to have a confession in solitude and confession to yourself, have a real talk with yourself. Only then you can have a real talk with others, right? So they are having a very realistic talk to themselves that why this person only? Why do I think about this person? For example, when the masculine ran away or before running away, if the divine feminine was trying to convince him over the phone calls, calling him again and again, probably trying to tell him that, you know what, I am the right person for you. I'm the one who loves you. I'm the one who's supposed to be with you. You know, we are this or we are that. We are true lovers, blah, blah, blah. When she's telling him all of this, she's telling him, don't fight, don't get angry, give us one chance. And she's obviously asking for a chance because she's scared that she's going to lose him or he's going to move on. And this is the time when he says to her that, how do you know this is love? How do you know you're meant for me and I'm meant for you? You didn't even talk to me properly for 3 months. I've been trying to know what you feel or how you feel, but you haven't told me anything. You're just always playing games. You're just always so secretive. You just vanish whenever you want to. Of course, she's like, do I vanish or do you vanish? But from his perspective, he says those things to her. How do you know? You didn't speak to me for 3 months. We didn't talk for 3 months. And how do you know you love me? And she would tell him that, so what if I didn't talk to you for 3 months? I was thinking about you. And you're like, bullshit. You were thinking about me for 3 months and you didn't call me, you didn't message me, you didn't want to heal this thing, you didn't want to be nice to me. You're never nice to me. You're always rude to me. You're mean to me. You don't love me. This is not love. How can this be love? This is torture, or this is this. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Just don't call me. Just don't message me again. Please, I request you. He's saying all of this, and maybe this is exactly where she decides to stop. And she goes like, he's not even listening to me. He doesn't believe me. He doesn't understand what I'm trying to tell him, that I do love him. And maybe these are just triggers. I mean, you do realize later on that these were triggers, or this happened or that happened. But when you're in the situation, when you're in the middle of a heated argument, or some kind of difference has cropped up and you're going mad, getting angry with each other. Or he just says something very strange like, you don't love me. And I know many cases like this where he has clearly said that you don't love me. Of course, some of you might be thinking that he never said anything to me. He just vanished. He just, one fine day he was so nice to me and then suddenly he decided to vanish. That is also not a normal behavior. But why do people do that? Is simply because they don't see the light in you. They don't see that shine in you. They don't think that you're for real. And this happened with Shiva and Parvati. They are gods and goddesses. I've already shared the story. If you have missed out the true love story, the twin flame divine love story of Shiva and Parvati, then you can search for it. So now, cut to after 3 years or 4 years of no communication, maybe 6 years, maybe 2 years, maybe 1 year, whatever, different for different people, he is thinking that I haven't spoken to her for 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever, 5 years, and I think about her every single day. I think about her all the time. I wish we were together. I like so many things about her. And what do I do with the feelings I have for her? This is what also awakens him. That's the reason why we say that don't touch him, don't talk to him, don't call him, don't message him. Give him time to make his realizations. And this doesn't mean that you stop living your own life. You continue to live your own life, and in the meantime, if you find someone attractive, someone nice, someone who treats you well, then go for a date or go talk to that person. There's nothing wrong in that. But if you are in waiting energies or chaser energies, definitely he won't have that realization. So say the Divine Feminine has found her mission. That's the reason why a lot of Divine Feminines prefer to be in the mission than to, keep meeting karmics, because after a point they also realize that karmics are temporary and karmics are not there forever, and karmics are going to teach me a lesson, but they are teaching me a lesson because I am choosing the karmics and I'm bored of the karmics or don't want the karmics. They're practically all the same, in some way or the other. So she decides, and when she decides to be in the mission, that's when she's completely tried or experimented with other people as well. So it's very important for the Divine Feminines to move on and live their own lives. When they live their own lives, they move on. The person on the other side has nothing left to do but to figure out what went wrong. And one of the biggest assurance of love is, why this girl only? Why do I think about her so much after all these years? Why am I praying to God to give me one more chance to fix it with you? Fix it with her. Why her? Why not anybody else? This bothers them. This really frustrates them. And even they have crossed the stage of going ahead with someone else. They are done with the previous relationships. They've ended the relationships. A true Divine Masculine will not approach you till the time he's not very sure that he has ended the relationship and he's made an effort for it. If it's a false twin, he would be married, he could be settled, he could be dating someone else, and he would still come back to you, or he would still want to, as I said, have two boats, or have one hand in the bush and one hand with you, or he would want to have the cake and keep it too. So Divine Masculines can't do that. They're technically not that complicated. They want everything to be simplified. So either they would put down the papers, or they would, do some kind of a clear separation. If they're in live-in relationship, they'll probably move back to their own parents, and only then they will come back to you. They want to come back to you clean and fresh. If they don't do that, by any chance, if they don't do that, then my dear Divine Feminines, if you are listening to this, take it as a very strong guidance. Do not accept them. Do not take them back like that. Tell them to finish whatever businesses they have. If they really love you so much, the way they're claiming to be in love with you, or they are confessing it. False twins can confess love at the same time while they're confessing it to someone else. They are not even narcissistic people. They have some problem. They could be psychos. False twins are normally psychos. So be careful of those psychos, and one of the biggest things is that they'll not keep you hanging. Once they come back clean, once the Divine Masculine has healed, he will be very clear about it. He'll end everything with whosoever it is, and most probably he will end everything and then communicate with you. So she would also think, why is he talking to me? Why is he calling me after all this while, after 2 years or 3 years of not talking to each other? He's saying, hi, how are you? Or he says, I'm sorry for what happened. Or what's up with you? Initially it always starts with, she wonders, why is he? So never contact. That's why we say don't contact. Try not to contact. There's no hard and fast rule as such, but this is the best way to go. Have faith in the universe. Always have faith in the universe. Always believe. And this is the place where you can use law of attraction. But not the law of attraction which teaches you to be clingy, but the one that tells you to let go. So surrendering is an important part of this journey. And as I said, that this is for those people who are in the surrendering stages. And this is where I'm going to be ending this channeling session. Thank you so much for being here with me. One love and peace out.